See us, we don't dare for the long run. We don't dare for the matter. Every challenge just make the flavor strong. It make the flavor join better. We be seasoned. Yeah, the grace just dey plenty. We be seasoned. Our story don't sweet like 20. No be child's play, we the lead now. We be seasoned. Future sweet, we don't see them now. Tell them, we be seasoned.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Seasoned. It's your girl, Ajwa. Oh my gosh, so I turned 44 yesterday. I am officially in me and my twin sister, we are officially in chapter 44. And I did not really have a plan for my birthday. Actually, when I was in Ghana, before I made this trip to Nairobi, I was before I even knew about this trip to Nairobi, I share a birthday with my aunt and my uncle. So my uncle is my mom's first cousin, and he's also my sister and I's godfather. And he and his wife are both 9th August, and their wedding anniversary is 9th August. And they had planned to have a party to celebrate their birthdays and their anniversary. So when I found that out, I was like, okay, well, I don't really have any plans for my birthday this year. I was like, it's 44, nothing special is really happening in my life. So, hey, why not go and celebrate it with them? Since they're having a party, it's like a perfect way to, celebrate with them. And so that was my plan for my birthday this year. And then I found out about Nairobi. And I found out that I will be in Nairobi for my birthday. So I was like, okay, this is new. Like at the time, I didn't know anybody in Nairobi. So I was, looking for suggestions as to what I could possibly do. I used Chat GPT to figure out best things to do for my birthday, and my plan sorry. My plan in Ghana was to have um what do you call it? Take Friday off because in at my firm, you get your birthday, you can take birthday leave. So if your birthday falls on a weekday, so you can take your birthday off. Granted, there's nothing pressing that needs to be done, but you can take a birthday leave, right? So I plan, and I normally will take if my birthday falls on a weekend, I will take like the Friday off and then the Monday so I can have like a 4-day weekend. So I planned that I was going to take the Friday off and then take the Monday off so I could proper just take leave because I rarely take leave. I tend to take majority of my leave at the end of the year. So for the rest of during the year, I normally just take a day here or there, and it has to be for some reason. But the times I haven't gone to work is mostly because I've been sick or it's a long weekend in Ghana, but not necessarily because um I'm like, oh, let me take a week off. No, I'm not that type of person. I like to accumulate my leave. So this year, I will be taking it in September because I have to make a quick trip. And then the rest I'll take in December. Anyway, but since I'm in Nairobi, I don't think they get birthday leave here. So I couldn't take Friday off. I couldn't take Monday off. And the reality is, no, I'm only here for a month for work and I'm going to take leave. It doesn't make sense. So anyways, um, I was just like, maybe I'll just maybe do a spa day somewhere or maybe go walk at one of the national parks, maybe Nairobi National Park, maybe um go and do a safari, something. I wasn't really sure. But all I said is that, God, I want you to surprise me for my birthday. I wanted a surprise. And Oddly enough, um, when I got to Nairobi, my mom had told a friend of hers who has a daughter here, and she said, you know, my daughter's coming. Maybe our daughters can meet up. So I got her daughter's number, and we met up on Thursday, had such a lovely evening. And I told her it was my birthday on Sunday. She's like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to take you to church. And then after church, we'll go to brunch. And I was like, oh, I mean, perfect. Because in Ghana, I would have gone to church on my birthday anyways, since it's a Sunday. And then, um, so I was like, okay, that's my plan. And then I had decided that maybe after brunch, I'll come home, just have a quiet night in, and maybe order some takeout and make sure I have a cake and then just call it a night. Saturday, one of my coworker from Ghana, she's my direct next door neighbor. She messages me like around 11 a.m. and she's like on Saturday and said, we have there are two other secondees here as well from South Africa. And we're planning to go to the museum on Saturday. So do you want to come with us? And I said, sure. And so we become this foursome because the two of us are downstairs and the other two are upstairs, right on top of each other. So we've been, the whole of Saturday. So when they found out it was my birthday on Sunday, they're like, oh, we have to get a cake. We have to do something. So after I got back from brunch, they stopped over, got me a cake. And then my Ghanaian coworker walks, comes, knocks on my door and hands me some flowers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, for me flowers. And I love flowers. And then she's like, no, it's not from me. And I found out it was from a coworker of mine in Ghana. And she and I had started, so the three of us all had started together at our firm on the same day. So we are in the same cohort. And she had sent flowers for me, which was like the nicest surprise ever because I am such a I love flowers. I'm the girl who, when I was in Canada, I'll just go to the grocery store, buy flowers, and put it in our house. And I'm not someone who's received a lot of flowers from guys. I don't know why, but I think the next guy who sends me flowers, I might have to marry him. Well, that doesn't mean like just anybody send me flowers. I mean, we'll still vet you and we'll still need to see if I find you attractive. But yeah, flowers are really something I love, plus cakes. Like, I'm such a simple girl. I'm not, of course, if you give me money, even better. If you buy me a car, even better. If you buy me a house, better. Send me on a trip, better. But I mean, when we're talking about the little things, the thoughtful things, those are the things that mean a lot to me. Flowers, cakes, just something that that I genuinely love and really like makes me super happy. So it was such a nice surprise. And then I made dinner and they all came round and we sat here and we just talked and we laughed and we cut cake and we had cake and then we all went to our corners afterwards. And you know, sometimes it made me realize that sometimes it's not about the grand gestures. It's not about going out of your way to do something so, you know, m- grand to show that and just so that you can prove you're having fun or an excuse to post on social media this grand thing that you did for your birthday just so that everybody can see like you had this great birthday. Sometimes, well, the I mean, at least for me, it's just being surrounded by love and care and you know having people generally just want to celebrate you. And it doesn't have to be grand gestures. Even just the calls, the messages, all of that, people just generally even posting my I'm so sorry. Posting my picture on social media on their WhatsApp status just to honor you on your day. And it's just, it just makes you realize how important these things are. We don't need grand gestures. Sometimes it's just as I get older, I don't need to have a party to feel like my birthday was celebrated. Why is there a mosquito in my apartment? The weather's too cold for mosquitoes. Um and what do you call it? Sometimes it's not about having this big party or going to this grand dinner and dressing up, and I mean those things are fine and all good and dandy. But it's sometimes the simple things. Like we were literally in our like s- I was in my house, boo boo. They were in their pants and their sweatpants and their hoodies, and we had our blankets wrapped around us because trust me, this place is freezing. I mean, inside our apartments, it's freezing. And we were just on the couch watching Worst Ex ever on Netflix, and that was sufficient for me, right? And it just was enough, just was enough for me for this birthday. And being in a country where I thought I would end up being alone, and God just surrounded me with people to celebrate my day with me. I think that in was more than that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful surprise for me. And it it was enough. I think that was enough. And so as I'm getting older, let me just talk about the things that matter to me. Um, hmm. I'm realizing that now that I'm in my mid 40s, um, I need to state what I want and not be afraid to speak up and say what I want. And I will just give this example. I'm not going to go into detail, but I was talking to someone last night, late last night, and I ended up drifting off to sleep. So I woke up to the message, and when I woke up to the message, the person had left um a, an interesting message, to say the least, right? And normally I would have responded to just being coy and, very um what you call it, not so obvious, and speaking in parables, so I don't come off a certain way, right? Just so that I don't come off as someone who is, not being, I don't want to come off as obvious, right? But this time I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to be honest and bold and vulnerable to this person's statement, right? And respond and say exactly what I want and not be afraid to speak up and damn the consequences, right? Whether the response is taken positively or taken negatively, I don't care. And it wasn't like, just to be fair, like it's not like the person was saying something that was so like negative or anything. It was we've had this um thing, and it's just been a lot of like talking in parables, I guess, from both ends. Nobody's being straightforward. And I was like, I'm gonna say what I want. This is what I want, and that's what it is. And mind you, I haven't gotten a response yet, but I'm like, you know what? I've said it. I'm gonna stand on it. And whether it's positive, whether the response comes back and it's not positive, whether it comes back positive, whatever the response it is, I'm standing on that. And that's something that I need to not be afraid to do, because we're so worried about perception. we're so worried about how people will see us. We always want to give this impression of ourselves. Um, and maybe it's cultural where we're, and especially with our, um, the way we were brought up, you're not supposed to be so direct and upfront. So it almost feels a bit, as my boss would say, very North American when you're very straightforward with certain things. You know, you don't beat about the bush. And I'm like, I need to start doing that more. Um, so that was my first, um, my first thing in I did in my 40s, as a 44-year-old, is state my stance and standing on it and not going back, because Omi would have gone back and said, "Oh, I'm just joking." Sorry. I've just really opened up my lungs today. We went on a 7.8 kilometer walk today, and after work, and there were so many hills and valleys and stuff, so my lungs have really breathed in a lot, so I think I'm coughing because of that. Anyways, so I'm like, yeah, normally I'll be like, oh, I'm just joking, or what. I've sent like 1,000 messages to follow up so that I don't, I'm like almost apologizing for saying what I said. But I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. And whether you take it or you don't take it, that's on you. And it's not a negative thing. No, whatever I'm saying, it's not, the interaction is not a negative interaction, but it's more like I'm just, it stands that I've been dilly dallying. I'm just trying to be, I was vulnerable, I was honest, I was open, and I said what I said. So yeah, I'm also trying to take my health more seriously. Like today I got back from work, and I'd had a very like difficult day, you know, with regards to my body, my health and everything. Um and I was wait, did I put on this washing machine? Why am I not hearing it? Um oh, it's on. And I had a rough day, so I really just wanted to come home and lay on the couch and just be a vegetable. And I when I got out of the office and I was waiting for my Uber, and I realized that it was really warm and it was such a sunny day, which hasn't been very regular here in Nairobi, right? And most evenings when I come home, there's a bit of a chill in the air, but today was just like really warm. And so I immediately came home, sent a message to the group chat, and I said, the group chat that we formed with us four secondees, and I said, who wants to go for a walk? And one of the ladies said she will. And she's like an athlete. This is somebody who runs marathons and stuff. So I was like, great. So I got changed and we walked. And, she's like, how long do you want to walk for? And I said, till we pass out. Literally. I didn't realize that we were literally going to walk till we passed out. By the time I got home, I took off my sneakers and I sat down. I just could feel like I just started getting muscle pulls and all of that. But having said that, I just felt so immensely proud of myself that I didn't come home and just veg out. I came home and did what I wanted to do, which was go for a walk. And I felt so good afterwards. I felt so energized and alive and vibrant. And I just said, I just, I hope I'm able to stick to it. But yeah, um, what else have I had a chance to contemplate on? I've realized that, as I'm getting older and, haven't had children and something that, like I did say, I'll talk about it in another episode, but I just want to be more reflective today. But I'll bring it up another episode with my reproductive health. But it just to just give a very quick overview. Medically, it seems like my chances are near to impossible of me having a baby at this age, biologically. Um, at the end of the day, that's what medically they're saying. Obviously, I believe in God and God has a plan for our lives. So I'm not giving up hope. But in terms of biologically, even through even using my own supply, it doesn't seem very likely based on testing and everything that we've done. And at 44, you know, I'm just ah someone will say that why are you focusing on your career? You should be focusing on seeing what you can do to try and have a baby. Like here I am, I just got this new role, this new position. I'm going to be traveling for quite a bit. And I'm just like, you know what? I have God's and I'm not trying to be flippant here or, nonchalant, but I will just say this. At this point in my life, at 44 years old, God has put something before me, which is this career opportunity, right? I believe the way this job came about, it's clearly divine intervention. And I need to focus on what is before me and let God figure out the rest when it comes to my ability to have children, right? And recently, I've been seeing a lot of posts on social media of women who are having babies later in life, who were almost near, had no chances or opportunities, or the chances were damn near slim. And I think it's God's way of telling me that, you know what, I work in with impossible situations. So I need you to focus on what is before you, which is this new opportunity. Mm. And you and that's all you need to worry about. And the rest is me. I gotta do this. I will do the figuring out. I'm the one who has the plan. I know what will happen. So don't focus on that. Don't look at the clock. Don't look at your age. Don't look at what the doctors are saying. Right now, just look at what is before you. And that is the position that you've been given, this job, all the travels you're going to be doing, the role you've just taken up. That is your job to focus on. And let me do the rest. And I say that to say, um, I'm trying and learning to let go and let God do what He does best. And it's not easy. And it's really not easy. And I'm trying not to look at the clock anymore. That I need to have done this, I need to have done that, I need to have accomplished this, I need to have accomplished that. I need to stop playing the comparison game and looking at friends or family or people on social media and saying, oh, they did this at this age and I'm here and I'm there. Like, so what? Someone is, you know what is so funny? I came to Ghana and I saw friends and family who've moved ahead in their career. And I was coming into a role, I was stepping backwards. I was pretty much starting, you know, somewhat from, I won't say I was starting my career from the bottom, but I had to take a step back from where I was coming from. And I had to learn and I had to adjust and I had to deal with people who are much younger than me but were in senior positions. And there was a lot of ego checking because, you're dealing with people who are younger than you, but they're more senior. Also, your teammates or your support, your colleagues, or those you're in the same cohort or same level as are young. And when I say young, they're super young, right? Some of them are in their late 20s or in their early 30s. And here you are, this 40 something year old woman. And you have to talk to these kids and, they're using language that you're not familiar with and all of that. And there was a lot of, had I not moved from Ghana, I would be where I'll be, maybe a senior leader by now. And here I am starting fresh. And I look at my life now and I've got this position. And some of my friends, when I told them about it, they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a job like yours. I wish I was in a position like yours. So the very people that I was like, oh, I wish I was like them. I wish I had jobs like them in the positions that they are making the money that they're making. And they're looking at me now and they're like, oh, I wish I was in your position. So I say that to say that when you're looking at other people's lives and you're wishing that you were where they are, you don't know what God is about to do in yours. Because eventually he might flip the script and you will be the one that people are saying, oh my gosh, I wish I was in your position. You just need to embrace the stage that you're in at the moment and realize that eventually it's not a permanent position, right? I'm hearing so many stories recently. Oh yes, I was in an Uber on yesterday with my family friend and we were talking about the younger generation and she was telling me how uh, someone she knew um got applied for a role. Someone she knew, she was having a conversation with a friend of hers and she was telling her about her friend was telling her about like this new generation of kids. And she said there was a young woman who came, two young people who came in to apply for a job at her company. And you know they both did relatively well, but one person, the guy got the job and the girl was put on a waiting list and said, well, if another position comes up, we will call you for it, right? So, anyways, the guy that got hired for the role that this woman had applied for, or this girl had applied for, something came up in his life and he had to turn the role down. So they called the girl and they said, hey, why don't you come in and the guy couldn't take the job, so we're offering you the position. And she said, no, she's not going to take it because it's like they're giving her leftovers and hand me downs. And both of us were just like, when she was telling me, I was like, what? So it's not like they had rejected you. They just put you on a waiting list that if something comes up, we'll call you. Now, a job has come up because you were not the first pick. Instead of just being grateful and say, hey, I got the job, the guy turned it down, no, turned it down, so they're offering it to me. You're saying you feel like you're it's a hand me down. I'm like, are you serious? So it had me realize that, you know, sometimes in life, in order to get to where you're going, you might need to take a step down for you to learn and to get to where you're going, right? And now here I am. And I'm just like shocked that this is when I first started the job, I was just like, my job, I was just like, okay, fine, But here I am now, not just in a local firm, but I'm now in the regional office, which could never imagine in 100 years that this is where I'll be. And God knows that my boss was telling me that, I am going to, I'm training you to eventually, you're going to take over my job, right? So she's already prepared me, she's already putting me on succession, you know, path because she knows I'm the one who's going to take her role up next. So we can't all just, we just have to understand that sometimes your life will not be where you want it to be, but then eventually, if you write it out, you will get to where you want to go. And last thing before I wrap up, I will just say this, that when it comes to love and relationships, and I'll go into deeper later, but this is just my little observation at 44. I'm at the stage in my life where I am not going to pressure myself or force myself to be in any situation. I know what I'm looking for in life. I know the type of guy that I want, but I'm also willing to the start things at friendship. Sometimes that's all it has to be. And I'm not putting a timeline. I'm not gonna say that, okay, we're gonna be friends for 2 months, and then from 2 months we should move into a relationship. I'm not in a rush to get married. I've done the marriage thing. I'm happy. Um, if marriage happens again, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. But I'm willing to just start things at a friendship level with any guy. Let's be friends. Let's get to know each other. Let's get to build a relationship, a rapport, a rhythm. And as time goes on, we'll figure it out, right? I'm not expecting that, okay, we should be dating within 2.5. I'm willing to go as slow. If I feel like the other person is not interested even in a friendship, then fine, we don't need to even be friends. But I'm not forcing anything to happen in a set timeline. I'm willing to just let things happen, let the chips fall as they may, and things time has a way of showing you where things will end up and how things will go. And I'm not going to force or pressure myself into situations and analyze every situation. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So, cheers to my 44th year. And I'm just praying for greatness, goodness, just letting the chips fall as they may and trusting that things will work itself out. So, yes, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, reach out to me, leave a comment, and hopefully, and God willing, I'll catch you guys next week. And remember, life doesn't always get easier with time, but with every season, we become more seasoned.